What separates the greatest salespeople from those who just barely get by? You might never even know by looking from the outside in at why some people just never get it when it comes to sales. Is it the way that they're born? Is it the way that they're brought up? Well, I believe that it comes down to three specific skills that are the most important skills to learn in the world of sales. And we're going to talk about them right now. Let's get right to it. My name is Brandon Eastman, and over the past decade, I've trained over 1,000 salespeople to earn more money, become more confident, and live better lives. And at the beginning of my sales journey, I constantly wondered, why is that person doing so much better than that person? Why is that person earning significantly more money than the other person? And sometimes the person who wasn't earning much money has been in sales for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And the person who was doing significantly better just graduated high school. And that was me, by the way, just graduating high school, joining my first sales career ever. I frequently led the leaderboard. I had no college experience. I had no formal training. I had no sales experience. So what was the reason for my success and other people's success versus those who simply just get by? The first skill that you must learn is effective listening. Listening is so important because think about when you feel most heard. Think about when in a conversation with someone else, you leave that conversation thinking to yourself, wow, that person, he gets me. Something about his tone, something about what he said really resonated with me. Well, the funny thing is, sometimes it's not even what you said. Sometimes it's not even what you did or your tone at all that conveys a message to somebody. Oftentimes, people think that you said more than you really did when all you did was sat back and listened. You see, being listened to is such a rare thing in today's world. People just aren't used to it. And when I went through my first formal sales training ever, one of the most valuable pieces of information that I took away was this concept of 80-20. Listen 80% of the time. You were given 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, right? And speak 20% of the time. You would not believe, or maybe you would, how many people struggled with listening 80% of the time. As salespeople with a product or a service to sell and a process to follow, we feel that we just have to talk that person into submission to get them to buy that thing that we know is right for them. But often listening to that person's problem, restating that we understand their problem, and then offering a solution after we got all the required information is truly and always is the best strategy to follow. So how can you get better at listening? Well, one, practice in your sales situations, but how can you get better at listening outside of work, outside of sales? Well, again, I believe every conversation is a sale in some way or some form or way. And sales is persuasion, right? So in your normal daily conversations with your spouse or your kids or your siblings or your coworkers, practice listening 80% and talking 20%. And I'll tell you this, it'll feel really, really weird at first. You're going to feel like you're just making weird eye contact with this person. You're going to feel like you're just nodding your head an obnoxious amount of times. You're going to feel like a person is expecting you to say more. But if you asked every single person after you left their presence, hey, how did you feel about that conversation we had? Every single one of them is going to say, you know, I felt like you were really listening. I felt like I was really heard. I had this revelation. You really helped me come up with a solution to my problem. And I didn't even ask you for help, but you helped me to find help. So thank you very much for that. And you're going to be thinking, dude, I didn't even say anything. All I did was ask questions. All I did was nod my head. All I did was listen. And listening is one of, if not the most important skills in sales for that reason alone. The second skill that is most important for all salespeople and humans to learn is effective state management. Going into your shift or going into a customer or a client conversation or a sale of any kind in the best possible emotional state that you can be in is critical. Have you ever had a bad day and then you go into a conversation with a client, or you go into work and have conversations with your coworkers, or go to do anything that you're required to do when you're in a bad mood? How does that feel? You don't want to do anything, right? When you're feeling bad, that's going to come across in your actions. It's going to come across with your body language. It's going to come across with your tone, with everything. Getting yourself into a good place before any important conversation, activity, or anything in general is paramount to your success in sales. And you might be thinking, Brandon, I can't always control whether I'm in a good mood or not. Well, what if I told you that moment by moment, you may not be able to do so. However, minute by minute, you can. And I'll explain what I mean. There will be situations and challenges and obstacles that get in your way that do manipulate and determine how you feel for a temporary period of time. But it's up to you in order to get yourself back into a great emotional state. So if something happens or you are given bad news and you're feeling frustrated, how long will you allow yourself to feel frustrated? Is it 30 seconds, 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes? If it's any more than 5 minutes, you're allowing that situation or that bad news to control your life. Do you want to give away control to a third party? Do you want to give away control to a situation that you couldn't have had any impact with how it was handed to you? You just have to now live with it and work with it and deal with the eggs that you were handed, right? My friend Rob had a saying that was E plus R equals O. Events will happen in your life. It's how you react to those events that will determine your outcome. E plus R equals O. So how do you get yourself back into a great emotional state? Well, I have a lot of different trainings that I'll link to above here that you can go check out that will help you to snap your fingers and feel good at a moment's notice. But really, it comes down to awareness. Ask yourself frequently and constantly throughout the day, how am I feeling in this moment? Am I feeling neutral? Am I feeling great, full of energy? Or am I feeling down or tired or lazy? And if it's the adverse, if it's you're not feeling too great, you're feeling like a low vibrational emotion, then what can you do in order to get yourself into a great state again? Well, you've got several different options. The easiest and the fastest way to feel good again is to move your body in a different way. When's the last time that you were sad and you got down and did 10 push-ups or 10 sit-ups and you still felt bad after those? The oxygen was flowing, the blood was rushing through your body. It's practically impossible to feel bad when you are moving yourself in a powerful physiological way. That's the most powerful way. But another way is have a conversation with somebody you know that can help you off the ledge. Or read something, maybe a note you keep in your phone to help you to feel better. Maybe it's a Bible verse, or maybe it's a verse from one of your favorite books, or it's something that you know by reading it will change your focus, it will change your thoughts, and as a result, it will help you to feel better. Step number 2 and skill number 2 is be aware of your state and how to feel better in a moment's notice. And the third skill I want to give you, and I've seen this third skill make or break the greatest salespeople. And I guess you really can't even call them great if they don't have this third skill. It is coachability. Being able to take advice or feedback from somebody else, but especially someone who's playing the game at a higher level than yourself, or comes from a completely different position to where they're able to effectively offer you advice. If you're not able to take advice from people like I just described, then it's going to be a really hard time for you to adjust to the world of sales. If you're not coachable, you're always going to believe that the way that you are doing something is the best way to do it. I've seen the greatest naturally talented salespeople come through my trainings over the years. And if they're not coachable, no matter what, they're going to crash and burn. How can you spot someone who isn't coachable? One, they're constantly pushing back on what you're teaching them. They're constantly trying to tell you a better way to do what it is you're teaching them or the group of people that you're speaking with. And three, they don't take any of the feedback you give. They may say, yes, okay, thank you to the teaching and the advice that you're giving them, but they don't actually implement that feedback in their process. And they continue to have the same problems with no improvement because they're not coachable. So, how can you become more coachable? One, always ask yourself, who is this person I'm receiving advice from? Do I want this person's life or do I want their results? If the answer is no to either of those things, they may not be the best person to take advice from. So you need to know who to take advice from. But if your answer is no one's good enough to take advice from, then you may in fact be the problem. You must be coachable. Find a mentor at the job or the career that you are at, someone who you do trust, someone who you do welcome advice from, and let them know, hey, Mr. Mentor, I have trouble when it comes to taking and implementing advice. What feedback would you have for me? What advice would you have for me to help me through this roadblock that I know is stopping me from reaching my ultimate potential? And guess what? I'm sure that person will have some feedback and will have some thoughts for you. So find a mentor, be coachable, take advice from the people who are playing the game even one step or level higher than yourself, and practice these 3 skills. And I promise you, you will reach that next level of your own potential and become even more unstoppable in the world of sales. Now, if you really want to reach that next step in your sales performance and really take it to the next level, then go to the description and click the link below and download the free digital copy of my book. It is called Be Extraordinary, Your Guide to Self-Mastery. This book will help you to master yourself, and it will help you to master the 5 key areas of life. And listen, when you download the digital version for no cost, I'm going to also send you the audiobook version of Be Extraordinary so that you can listen to it if you're not a reader, whether you're at the gym, you're in the car, you're taking a walk, you're cleaning the house, whatever it may be, your inputs equal your outputs. So get some good inputs, go download Be Extraordinary. It is my gift to you. I hope these 3 sales skills will help you reach your next level of potential. Thank you so much for watching and listening. And until we talk again next time, continue to be better.